Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom. This is Watchman's Voice, Remnants and Martyrs. Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs by Symmanayah. Yes, my name is Symmanayah, and if you're tuning in for the first time, you will know that the messages in which I present are directed towards Yashar'al, nation of believers. These are individuals of all kindreds and tongues who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Yahuwah, the Father and Creator of all things. He who has had his word manifest in the flesh, sacrificed and resurrected to his right hand. Yahuwah, all those who seek to worship and obey him, and accept Yahusha as our Mashiach, our Messiah, knowing that it is through him that we are made one under the banner of Yashar'al. In this segment, this is the fourth installment of the series Watchman's Voice, directed towards the remnant and martyrs of Yashar'al. And in this fourth segment, I want to mention what's to come. Yashar'al, commonly known as Israel, my brothers and sisters. I have experienced firsthand how our deer responds when bright lights are shined directly in their face. I witnessed the deer stare right into my headlights and freeze right before the danger of me hitting it. This was many, many years ago. I have also witnessed the animal not budge until I blew my horn and got right up on it. It appears, my brothers, in these last days, in these end times, there are those among us who are doing some of the similar things, looking straight into the headlights of the end-time prophecies, frozen, staring into the headlights of the last days, and not bulging, not moving an inch, per se, as it relates to preparation or seeking to improve in worship and obedience to the Most High. There are those who are waiting and ignoring the emergency conditions, just waiting for something to happen. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, if you are granted the mercy and favor, you will indeed witness something of great magnitude come to be. If you are expecting this segment to get into deciphering and revelation, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I won't be performing that task in this segment. What's to come? We'll focus on emerging challenges with specific suggestions to commit to prayer. I want to present to you, my brothers and sisters, some things that are critical to now. Strongly consider these things. Famine have begun and it will increase. Drought, fresh water shortages, and availability have begun and will increase. Pestilence is on the rise and expect more to come. Diseases have begun to sprout up of many types, some old, some new strands. If you can come to believe these four things have begun, the question I know that remains may very well be, when will it reach me and my family? I suggest, my brothers and sisters, that you consider researching and coming to discover that these words are true. The United States have done an excellent job masking its ills, from food inventory levels to decaying infrastructures. Infrastructures such as roads, railways, bridges, water systems, electrical grid, and fiscal or financial health are in dire need of repair. If bridges collapse, my brothers and sisters, if roadways start to cave in, how would the food delivery trucks make it to your neck of the woods, to your community, to your neighborhood? There have been many attempts from the media to hide and shelter the American public from real-life threatening issues, not to mention things that can easily distract us and entertain us. Let me not be remiss by also talking about the global warming and its effect on climate change, overall weather patterns that affect how our foods are grown. It would not take long, my brothers and sisters, to research these words and discover the truth. While we are informed in the scriptures not to worry, be mindful that the scriptures instruct us to be aware of the signs of the times. Scriptures also inform us that we serve a living Elohim and Almighty Father Yahuwah, who sent his set-apart spirit in Yahushua's name to teach us and bring things to remembrance. I am also compelled to believe that in serving a living Savior, that he provides living instructions and guidance. Each day we receive mercy and favor from the Most High Father Yahuwah. All too often we have taken these actions for granted. Pray on this, my brothers and sisters. Back to the matter of end-time conditions presented earlier. In the wake or following major food shortages, a time will come when people will drastically search for food. I submit to you that is occurring on parts of this planet already, in areas that you may be unaware, not just in Africa, but in some of the other industrialized nations such as China and parts of the UK. Many are going hungry, are facing starvation, lack of food. In some areas there's a lack of fresh water. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, a time will come, and it's not far away, when people will be willing to do almost anything to get food. Money, gold, coins, precious stones will not have any value as people scramble for food. I have mentioned the presence of chaos, civil unrest, turmoil, crime, fighting, war, betrayal, upheaval, economic distress, and more that will rise in the coming days. I have mentioned this in times past. Just as people will get outrageous during massive food shortages, famine, similar behaviors will erupt regarding fresh water, dealing with drought, as well as scrambling for pesticides to spray to combat the coming pestilent increase. A time will also come where people will exhibit the same response regarding medicines and remedies, whether natural or man-made, to combat the coming diseases. I know, my brothers and sisters, that many, if not most believers, are grabbing comforting scriptures such as man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Almighty Father, Yahuwah, or Yashar'al will be gathered to safety, so I'm not worried. Or, for those of you who believe in a pre-trib rapture theory, maybe you will just hide, thinking you are about to be snatched up any day now. We can grab any scriptures we desire, but it will not cause the foretold events regarding end-time prophecies to stop, pause, or rewind, my brothers and sisters. Burying our heads in the sands or looking for things that just pleases us and comfort us is not the answer, my brothers and sisters. Remember, during the days of Noah and Lot, much unbelief and wickedness was present. I pray that none of us are overtaken by evil influence. While the majority of us may be waiting for peak conditions to prove these warnings, when they arrive, I believe most will have only or roughly 72 to 84 hours to get in place, to get somewhere safe. Otherwise, we risk being caught in massive traffic jams, going to airports, if they are operable, that are flooded with people trying to get to a safe place. Railways will reach extreme congestion levels, all of which consist of people trying to flee in or reach a safe place, or possibly trying just to reach a loved one. On the matter of food, I suggest you store enough food for at least a week, if possible 30 days. While I believe that as people scramble for food, many of us will be overtaken and have our food removed from us, stolen forcibly, or at the cost of our mortal lives. Drought. I suggest you purchase extra supplies of fresh water. Large bottles are fine, but also consider having enough small bottles of water that you can easily carry and possibly transport in your vehicle, providing it is not taken from you. Small bottles of water that you can possibly put in a backpack and carry in the event that you are faced with a foot journey. On the matter of pestilence, these specific conditions can really stir up the need to find a safe place to hide and avoid debilitating or crippling effects brought on by irritable pests. Recently, I read in the news about people in China being chased, some killed by hornets. Yes, CNN reported that 42 people were killed and over 1,500 people were injured. This occurred around October 14, 2013. I also read in recent news articles about a brain-eating amoeba found in fresh water in the state of Louisiana in one of their parishes. And there were 1 or 2 deaths, if not more, resulting in the presence of such. A brain-eating amoeba. My brothers and sisters, this is all too evidence of pestilence. Adding more injury or proof of pestilence in Oklahoma, a town in Oklahoma or city was plagued with small red worms getting into their water system, bypassing the normal filtration process. These and other stories are beginning to increase across the globe. It does not take rocket science to determine that as these conditions worsen, soon people will be running and trying to find the safe place, the safest place to live. On the matter of diseases, there are too many to list or mention, but I assure you, peak levels will arise and people will be forced to transition in attempts to discover places of safe refuge to get away from contagious plagues and or diseases. You may ask the question, but Symmanayah, when will these conditions reach peak levels? I do not have the answer, my brothers and sisters, regarding peak levels. While it is dangerous to use dates, I will boldly state that within the next 3 to 5 years, not more than 10 years, conditions will prove to be much worse than they are now. This puts us between now and 2016, or between 2016 and 2023, if not sooner. I am not, let me repeat, not saying the Mashiach, the Messiah, is returning in this time bracket. I am, however, strongly suggesting that end-time conditions, end-time prophecies will reach peak levels, resulting in the cataclysmic conditions that I previously described in this segment. What's to come? Yes, consider these things, my brothers and sisters. I suggest that each of us prepare our loved ones for the time when peak levels are reached. If we have not come to identify living instructions and guidance from the Most High Father, Yahuwah, through his set-apart spirits in the Yahushua's name, if we have not come to identify living guidance and instruction, as in what to do, I suggest that we begin to pray earnestly, for instructions are available. They are out there. Guidance is available. Pray, worship, study. Pray some more, and seek to discern the righteous instructions and guidance that is out there, my brothers and sisters. I am compelled to believe that warnings, living instructions, and guidance, along with reproof, discipline, and judgment, have already begun and will continue until the very end. We can choose to be in denial or not. Like I said, it will not stop things from moving forward into fulfillment. I strongly urge you to have communications with loved ones as to what should be done, where to go, how to conduct themselves along the journey, in order to get to the prescribed destination. Yes, how to act while trying to get to you. But more than anything, pray and seek to discern righteous guidance from the Spirit of Yahushua, for it will be critical in these coming times. I've given a story of you ignoring the Spirit of Yahushua, or one ignoring the Spirit of Yahushua, and saying, I'm going to go to my house because my loved one is there so I can direct them to a safe place, only to get there and find that loved one listen to the voice of Yahushua and is gone and in the safe place. But by your deference or defiance or delay in responding with precision, you find yourself left behind. These are individual choices we must make, my brothers and sisters. Hard times are emerging before us. Pray and watch. Next, I do agree with the publicity given to put together what has become known among the preppers as a to-go bag or a bug-out bag. This is a temporary survival bag filled with things that will be vital to survive from a practical perspective. Things such as fresh bottles of water or possibly a portable water filtration guide and or tool. Food for a few days' journey. Small first aid kit, a blanket, sleeping bag, or even a tarp could prove to be handy during forced transitions. I am compelled that the Most High Father Yahuwah will continue to make known His orders, which inform us to worship and obey His voice. Who has discovered how to achieve this task? Who has come to understand the true meaning of discernment? Who has studied, prayed, and experienced following the leading of the Spirit of Yahushua? Where are the true leaders of Yashar'al? These and many questions are being asked. I strongly suggest that each of us realize the importance of making righteous decisions and moving with precision. Where are we going? Where are people headed? Where will people be headed? What's really the safest place to venture? While many of you by now might have come to notice that I ask a lot of questions, this is true. For in questions come a desire to identify and seek out answers. In questions, one can produce a ready mind and ears to receive when and if the Spirit of Yahushua should decide to reveal or make known to us, provide discernment and understanding. I have suggested to those in the United States to consider the state of Virginia, to consider praying, for I believe a time will come when Yashar'al, the true believers who seek to worship the Almighty Father, the remnant of the United States will gather in the state of Virginia. I believe a time will come where the remnant that are in other countries will gather in the uttermost borders of that country that points towards true Mount Sinai. I believe at the appropriate time we will know and we will see those whom the Father has anointed and have empowered to represent Him and obey Him in leading Yashar'al to a safe place. I believe that the Most High Father have instructed and guided and is developing those who would be fortified to be martyrs, echoing the path to life up until their physical death in these mortal bodies. Yes, my brothers and sisters, I believe this is the season to choose what is more important, the life in these mortal bodies, these earthen vessels, or the life provided by the Almighty Father Yahuwah by accepting Yahushua as Mashiach, as Messiah. It is easy to say, speak, in or type one thing, but when put to the test, will our actions match our words? Trust me, my brothers and sisters, our words will be put to the test. We will go through a refining process. I am compelled to believe it would not be a bad thing to think about how you would seek out living instructions in the event of untimely circumstances that match what I described about civil unrest, violence, and more. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we are on the Almighty Father's time clock and schedule, not our own. It can happen in the middle of the night. It can happen while commuting from work or going to work. It can happen during the day. It can happen at any time. What? Peak levels can be reached and chaos can start a domino effect. I pray that we seek earnestly to hear and get to learn, get to know the voice of the Most High, so that we respond according to His righteous guidance and not react frantically. I suggest, my brothers and sisters, that we ponder on what words and how to pray for safe guidance and or strength to navigate through these troubling waters ahead. Strength and power would be the most desired things as end times intensify. Proof of righteous instruction and guidance, as well as proof as to who will be leading Yashar'al, will be widely sought after. There are many of us who have and will dismiss what has been brought to our attention, and that is the choice that some will make. I have mentioned in time past that Yashar'al, or remnant, will be gathered from the four corners of the earth before the return of the Mashiach, our Messiah Yahushua. I have echoed the existence of martyrs being fortified, trained, and developed, many of who are unaware of their training. I have also proclaimed that there will be brothers and sisters who will be overtaken with unbelief and rebellion. The message in my words will perform and get to the ears of all who they have been designed to reach, if there is indeed any life in these words. Pray, my brothers. Pray and watch. Study. Pray some more. My brothers and sisters, prepare. Seek to establish a ready mind to discern, understand, and respond timely as instructions are given. It's time to come away from words like, something told me. I should have followed my first mind. A little bird told me. I felt it in my gut, etc. It's time to identify righteous and living instructions and guidance and give credit and esteem to where it is due. All scriptures are and will continue to be fulfilled regarding what is, what was, and what have been promised by the Almighty Father Yahuwah. These things are all too real and are unfolding as I present these words, my brothers and sisters. Be encouraged. These messages have their importance and significance to the remnant. I realize there are many of you who are in or were poised to jot down scriptures. So I will give you this. Consider examining the 4th chapter of Amos and the 8th chapter of Amos thoroughly, and consider visiting Matthew's 24th chapter. There are many scriptures talking about end times, but these specifically will tell you about the scarcity of food, drought, famine. And like I stated, you cannot have massive food shortages without it leading to people fighting over food. You cannot have massive drought without it leading to people fighting over fresh water. Study earnestly, my brothers and sisters, and you will discover in the scriptures evidence in these words. Pray, research, search news feeds, and come to discern the emerging condition. Come to discover what is true. Pray to discern and discover and know the difference between types and shadows, false flags, and true prophecy fulfillment. I have now presented in this segment the importance of of having some idea of what to expect, what's to come, my brothers and sisters. I started out with the series in this Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs, with segment 1, pointing to the importance of identity, both individual and collectively as a body of one. I continued in segment 2 to highlight the need for building a relationship to discover the spirit of Yahushua. In the 3rd segment, my brothers and sisters, the 3rd segment of Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs, I spoke about embracing living instructions and guidance. And we now come to a close regarding the highlights of what's to come. What's to come, my brothers and sisters? There is much more than I've presented at this time, but even if we ignore the details, it does not mean things are not occurring. How many of us pay attention to the impulses our brains send to every cell, every nerve ending, in order to produce the movement of a hand, the blink of an eye, the wiggle of a toe? While we may not give thought to the processes that occur, I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the Almighty Father knows all, sees all, and He knows by His word, speaking His word and giving us life and mercy, He knows what happens, what must occur in order for us to continue to function. So though we may ignore details, things do occur. Things happen, even in our midst. I know it's hard, my brothers and sisters. I know it's very hard to embrace the unknown as well as things that have not come to be proven yet. But remember, once they come to be, once the evidence happens, hindsight will not deliver us. Remember during the days of Noah, as well as Lot, how wickedness increased. By the time they realized destruction had come upon them, it was too late to run for safety. I pray, my brothers and sisters, I pray that none of us are caught up in unbelief or rebellion. I pray, my brothers and sisters, that each and every one of us will come to realize how close we are to the return of our Mashiach, our Messiah. Pray and watch. The preparation process for Yahushua's return is intensifying and drawing near. There are those who secretly pray and are preparing and being developed. So do not wait till you see the masses respond. Do not get caught up in mass chaos and congestion. Pray and seek earnestly what you will do from an individual perspective and collectively. Pray whom you will hear. And remember, my brothers and sisters, the time will come when we must act. There'll be a time to be still. There'll be a time to act. And as I mentioned, I am compelled to believe with all my heart, with all my mind, with all my body, with all my soul, that Yashar'al will be gathered, a remnant will be gathered from the four corners of the earth, and martyrs will exist. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, I pray that we're able to navigate through this complexity of this journey. I pray that you consider drawing near. Let us get close. Let us get to know one another. I pray that you at least consider staying in tune with the words of these messages. Stay tuned for more on Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, O Yashar'al, until next time, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.